Justice for the victims of Japanese sexual slavery. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for this opportunity to speak. My name is Claudia, and I am an organizer with the Answer Coalition. I'm here to lend my voice to the countless women demanding justice for the crimes committed by the Japanese government and the Imperial Army. For 35 years, the Japanese government and military colonized Korea and brutally oppressed the Korean people. And for 70 more years, the government has refused to acknowledge the atrocities inflicted upon those who have been called comfort women. Thousands of women were abducted and forced into sexual slavery to serve the soldiers of the Imperial Japanese Army. To this day, the Japanese state refuses to simply acknowledge this heinous history. The government and military are implicit in these war crimes. The evidence is clear. American and Dutch records reveal the extent and brutality of the government-sanctioned brothels established by the Japanese Imperial Army. The government hopes to bury this truth, hopes that enough time passes, and that even the women who they have wronged pass away. But a worldwide movement of solidarity will not let this tragic history fade away. The pain these women suffered cannot be described, and the only way to rectify this injustice is to acknowledge the crime committed and pay reparations to the victims. Women from across 11 countries were kidnapped and forced into sexual slavery. It is these same women that have come together to build solidarity networks for other women who are victims of imperialist war and a patriarchal system. Their hands have reached out to women all across the global south, because the only way we'll see justice is to build an international movement of solidarity. Their struggle is my struggle, and we will keep fighting for justice. These women are not only fighting a racist colonial system, but they are also fighting a patriarchal system that kept them quiet for decades. Women were afraid to come out about their experiences, afraid of how a system that does not value women's lives would judge them. Sexual harassment and coercion are still major issues facing women today. Women make up the majority of low-income workers and of the poor. Women still take up the bulk of the household work to maintain the family. And women are the victims of the occupying U.S. military, whose soldiers rape and murder women with impunity. It's plain to see that women are still unequal members of society. Justice for the victims of Japanese sexual slavery will be the first stepping stone for justice for all women. Thousands of women suffered a horrible fate at the hands of the Japanese Imperial Army. We call on the Japanese government to meet these demands. 1. Issue an official apology. 2. Pay reparations to the victims. 3. Record this history in textbooks. And 4. Erect a memorial for the victims. Justice for the victims of Japanese sexual slavery.